Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Today, I welcome a special guest hailing from the Deep South. We got Alfred Garza, the band Messianic. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing, Brian? Thanks for having me.
No worries. And I guess, which part of the South are you hailing from?
We're near Austin, Texas.
Got a lot of people from Texas these days here, too. But I guess it is a big state, so you got room
Yeah.
for everybody. So, how you been recently? What's new?
Oh, good. Nothing. Just got the working on trying to get some promotion to get the debut album out. Get heard out there.
I checked out some of your music earlier, so I guess, is that just like all a bunch of singles put together in like one album on Bandcamp?
No, it's actually a project I've been working on for like a year and a half, a little bit more, and just basically has a concept of kind of some of the more aggressive metal like metal kind of Bible stories and kind of my belief, my story, and through my faith.
Yeah, I've interviewed a good number of Christian bands so far in the indie community. So
Nice.
I don't know if you've noticed like Bond of Iniquity or Ritual Servant.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones out there. Amongst Giants, Brutality is probably one of my favorite, more thrash style, which is what I enjoy playing or try to emulate as much as possible.
All right, that's cool. You have to elaborate more on your music here in just a little bit here too. But Alfred, I want to welcome you to my podcast. And the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask you some questions. Let's get to know who the man is behind the music as well as what he does as well too. So you ready?
I'm ready. Perfect.
All right. So start here at the beginning here too. So I guess who are you and how did you become a musician?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in Texas, Houston. Born in Houston. I grew up with a stepfather that liked a lot of heavy rock, Kiss, Molly Hatchet, Jimi Hendrix, of course, a lot of that. So that was my biggest influence into heavy metal, and just basically did 30 years of restaurant management. And finally got out of that and got a nice desk job where I definitely have time to always, hone my love for playing guitar. Started playing when I was about 15, so started a little late, but been playing since then. I'm 50 right now, and yeah, just always been my dream to have a band and put my ideas out there for as far as music goes and what I like to listen to. And I got to jam with people here and there. Anybody would ever know, but this album, I just like I said, just kind of my life experiences, my mistakes, my victories, all that, just put into these 9 tracks that hopefully people will get to hear.
That's a pretty cool story. And I guess was it one of your uncles that introduced you to the guitar playing?
Yeah. My uncle Mike, rest in peace. He's been gone for a few years now. He was always real entertaining. Did a lot of Elvis impressions. He was pretty, not the best guitarist I've ever heard on the guitar, but he knew how to play some blues, and he showed me a few licks, and it was nonstop from there.
They play in any bands or was because I think a similar story was actually one of my uncles and my dad. They did like a little cover group covering like little Black Sabbath, Bruce Springsteen sort of songs too. They
Awesome.
do something. They do something like that or no?
No, he did. He, like I said, he was kind of a ham. He just liked to strap on an acoustic guitar, play a couple of E chords, and act like he was Elvis, swivel his hips, and made it more of a comedic look at me kind of thing. But I was more serious about I wanted to be, Jimi Hendrix. I wanted to be, Tony Iommi, But now he was never in any bands, but I do have a couple of cousins from that side of my family. Actually my dad's brother that are in the Tejano group. That I never got into Tejano, but I do have some relatives from that side that play some bands.
Tejano? I guess what's that mean? Is it a specific
Like,
genre or is that town?
it's kind of a mix of like I guess just Mexican music, like not, I wouldn't say not like a mariachi, but more of Tex-Mex kind of, who could I describe that you would know? Who's that actress played? Sorry, Jennifer. Uh, Dang, what is her name? Jennifer Lopez. She played her a Tejano star. You remember that movie, Serena? Was it
I was gonna say Sabrina or
Serena? Something like that. But anyway, she was a Texas pop star. It's that kind of music. It's just more Mexican, Spanish style. I don't know. You'd have to listen to it. I can't really describe it. I'm not a big fan of it, so I don't delve into it too much.
fair enough. No, it's the first time I heard about it too, so I guess you learn something new every day. These interviews,
Right.
so that's pretty cool. All right. So I guess let's go and jump into music here a little bit. So I guess how'd you come up with the name, and I guess what's the story behind it?
Yeah. So Messianic. Yeah, it's basically I feel like the Bible leads all to Jesus, and he was, in my belief, he was the true Messiah. So the message is messianic. So pretty simple. Uh, but yeah, that came up. It took me probably a couple of weeks of just beating my head against the wall and asking family members. I got a pretty big family. Just asking everyone's opinion of it, and that finally came to me. I feel like God gave it to me. Uh, I looked out there. There wasn't a lot of bands out there that were named that. I think I found one, but they're from a long time ago. And then most of anybody that has Messianic, they have something behind it or in front of it. So I was like, oh, it's safe, so I use it. But yeah, basically, like I said in the beginning, it's my experience with Bible stories. I feel like people know all the main stories of David Goliath, but they don't really get into like there's working on the next project. I have a song that's gonna be called Jawbone Hill, and it's about Samson, how he killed 1,000 soldiers with a donkey bone. So stuff like that, that's in the Bible that people don't even realize, and like, why is it in there? And I like to tell my experience of why, and put some heavy riffs behind it to really push it forward. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, I was telling this with Nate from Bottom of Iniquity. I'm saying like, because he got his name from Acts of the Apostles, and
Nice.
I was saying the Bible's so metal, man. So let's see what.
100%. I'm glad people see that.
I mean, hey, a lot of those bands tend to bash it these days here too. So I mean, it's kind of a downside. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess this kind of can tie into influences too. I guess so who kind of really introduced you to more of the heavier metals? Was it kind of during your teenage years? You stumbled upon it by accident?
No, no. In high school, a lot of us always had a hard time. Always felt like an outcast. Junior high was the worst, probably. But high school, I got in, just kind of fell in with the group. It was actually a band called Witch's Tears. There was one dude his name was Beckett, and he introduced me to Danzig. He introduced me to uh, other bands, Sepultura, stuff like that. And then when I heard Slayer, I was like, oh, Slayer. They were always my favorite for a long time. Didn't really care for the message unless I was angry or something like that, because that's what they kind of represent, right? But anyways, so pretty much high school, and then knowing these guys from the band. The guys from the band were mostly okay. They didn't really accept me in their group, but my buddy Beckett, that was friends with them, we hung out. He showed me all kind of new music, and kind of from there, that's probably why I started playing guitar so late, because I was like in high school when I finally got introduced to like, oh, I want to play this. Of course, Metallica, all the big four were pretty popular at that time. I think it was like 86, 88. So if you know anything about the biggest albums, thrash metal albums, that's when they came out. Justice for All, and South of Heaven, and all the Anthrax album, Megadeth. I mean, they were all just really, to me, at the height of their talent. But matter of opinion, right?
Yeah. Actually, I thought it was Master of Puppets. That was 86.
Yeah, 86, and then Justice 88, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do know Rain Blood from Slayer was 86 as well there too. So
Yeah, all those bands are just putting out their best stuff. Then, in my opinion.
yeah, I would actually say I'm kind of on a little bit of a Slayer spree now because I'm covering like all of the Hell Awaits album. So
Oh yeah, you like that album the most?
you know, it came a little late because I think it always used to be Rain and Blood, but I think that's what everybody would default to.
Right.
I think recently I came to have an appreciation for it because it seemed like Carrie and Jeff. First off, the songs were a little bit longer, but they still had like good speed behind it, and it was a lot more complex.
Right.
That and the drumming was a little bit easier too, so it wasn't like overtly complex as like what Dave Lombardo would do, like on like either South of Heaven or Seasons in the Abyss. So
Yeah. Cool story I read about Dave Lombardo actually went back and redid all the drumming for South of Heaven, and that's what you're hearing now. I thought that was cool. That he because if I think about trying to go back to a whole album just to redo it all because I didn't like it, I was like, I'm just leave it alone. That was a lot of work. I thought that was pretty cool though. But South of Heaven and Seasons of the Abyss are probably my favorites. Divine Intervention was pretty cool, which the band hates because they said that the audio sucks on it, but I still hear the music. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think the story with Divine Intervention was they had only a limited time in one studio, but the guy
Right,
never told them. So unfortunately, when they moved to like a different one, they had to like start all over because they couldn't just like redo the audio and just like have it blend or I guess whatever they had to do to make it
right,
work.
yeah.
So you can see why. I think that happened like twice. So unfortunately, by the time they were done, I was like, thank God this is over. So
Yeah, Kerry King says he's always sick of the songs by the time the album comes out. I don't feel like that with mine, but he's done it for so much longer.
yeah, but he's still at it. He recently came out with his like newer
Yeah,
solo
I saw
project
that.
too. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
so
Yeah.
going strong. I don't know. Is Slayer officially back? Because I'm hearing like different opinions about that. So I'm a little confused about it.
My opinion, I'll never be back. Without the great and mighty Jeff Hanneman. But I know Gary Holt is pretty good. Slid in pretty well, and I always respected Exodus. His band, always liked them too. But I haven't heard that. I just heard that Kerry King was, doing his own project, and I see him touring too. So, I haven't gone to any. I just seen it come up.
I've just been hearing on the radio like they're saying Slayer's going to play at 3 shows. It's like 3 big festivals. So it's like, and then I'm seeing on Facebook like, no, it's like they're not going to tour this year. So it's like, what gives?
I don't see why not. If money's there, why not take it?
Grab it.
Yeah,
Be like this. All that
yeah,
sort
you
of stuff.
got to.
It's pretty cool. I think I already mentioned about influences too, but I guess who would you say has been your biggest influence on playing style?
My playing style, Tommy Victor from Prong, representing them, one of the first albums. Uh, uh, I would say Andreas Kisser from Sepultura. Am I thinking of the bassist? I'm saying his name wrong. But anyways, yeah, Sepultura, their style of music, definitely Slayer, Jeff Hanneman, Kerry King. Uh, but back when I was younger, before I even started playing, I mean, Jimi Hendrix, was probably the biggest influence. Eric Clapton, stuff like that. A lot of blues, rock stuff. But the style of music I play now, definitely Tommy Victor from Prong, Jeff Hanneman. Uh, I guess a little bit. I like to play a little bit of the style of Megadeth when I can. It's really hard to. I always thought he was really unique, Dave Mustaine, uh, and I always just loved the story of how he got kicked out and he pulled himself up and look at him now. I think he's even more liked than the guys from Metallica, in my opinion, just by watching a lot of social media. So he ended up on top. I feel like he's still going at it, and so is Metallica. But anyways, he's a big influence, especially because of his perseverance. Just kind of went through the same thing with myself. Had some addiction issues, for decades and things like that. So yeah, I guess those guys I would have to put up there for sure.
Same with Dave. I think he was one that really stayed true to his style because it was always like
Yeah,
the complex, a lot of solos. He's
yeah,
listened to "We'll Be Back." It sounded like it was like the old school what you heard on Peace Cells or Rust in Peace.
right.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, he stuck to his
Yeah,
roots.
yeah. I think he never stopped. Um, and just his attention to how I think one of my buddies told me, I never fact checked this, but he actually went back and I can't remember which album it was, but he made sure it was like perfectly in tune, and it was kind of the least appreciated albums, but I did just his attention to that is kind of impressive. But then again, is it metal if it's completely in tune? That's the way I look at it too.
Not really. I think we like to mess around with either dropping it or I don't know,
Yeah,
tuning it up. I don't know. I don't know if you could do that because I mean that's probably straining the string as it is. But
yeah,
yeah, actually, the one thing I would say I did not like about Megadeth is the fact they did a lot of remastering instead of just sticking with the originals.
yeah. That's kind of probably where that story came from. He went back and make sure that it was as perfect to pitch is kind of the better term than tuning, because I think he always plays in E standard tuning as far as I can remember or know. But yeah, yeah,
It's something like that. I think when I was checking out like bass patterns from like certain songs on the Rest
mhm,
in Peace album, it was like in standard E tuning for like the bass, for instance. So
right, yeah.
I think the
You
other
ever
problem was I
you
was
ever
gonna say I thought
play?
the other problem was like it was like I thought it was like something they lost like the original audio or something like that too.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess back then too, especially 80s, 90s, it wasn't as easy to keep everything digital the way it is now. So, kind of how I did it here, just sitting here on my desk and my little amp behind me with mics. It's you can do it on your own now. I'm sure everybody knows that by now.
Yep, I'd say everyone and their grandkids these days instead of
Yeah,
everyone and their grandma. So
yeah,
but
yeah. Grandkids is best is a better term.
this day and age, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I guess is it just you strictly, or have you collaborated with other musicians in your group right now?
No, so I did. I found the rest of the bandmates on Fiverr, basically, except for the mixer master guy. Uh, but I jammed with the drummer for years, and he just never really committed to wanting to do any recordings and spending the money to buy the mics. Everybody knows the mic, and you're a drummer, so to buy mics for drums is really expensive for recording. So he never really wanted to commit to that, and so I was like, you know what, I make up all the music anyways. I pretty much want to do this, so kind of did it on my own. Found Alex Hamilton on Fiverr, uh, and then he had a drummer that I used for some of the songs, and then I found a drummer that I thought fit better with my style on Fiverr, Alicio Salvera. Then I always loved like the industrial side of some bands like Ministry, Fear Factory, Deftones. How they always have some cool atmospheric or electronica music going behind their music. So I found a guy. His name's Anton Kiptili from Ukraine, and he actually does mostly metal soundscapes for movies. But I like hit him up. I was like, hey, I got these songs, 3-4 minutes, some a little longer. Would you be willing to do anything? And I mean, the deals he was giving me, I couldn't pass up, and everything he did was perfectly kind of aligned of what my idea of what I wanted. So, basically Fiverr is how I did this. But I definitely, if I can get a record deal through promoting, I just, purchased a year's worth of promotion from Metal Devastation PR, if you've ever heard of it, radio. And so if I can get a record label to help me out, I'd love to do some live performing, get kind of a studio band together. I'm near Austin, so there's plenty of spaces to jam and a ton of musicians that are looking for something to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
So
for
yeah,
sure.
basically I wrote all the songs, I wrote all the lyrics. I even came up with the most of the, I would say 99% of the cadence. I'm not a vocalist. I can't really sing. I can't yell. I try to, how when you're in your car and you're trying to like yell and sing along with your own music. I mean, I can't even. I start coughing from the from the yelling. But yeah, Alex Hamilton had just such a. He does every song on there, and if you've listened to the album, there's a death metal song, there's a Slayerish kind of speed metal song, there's regular. There's some singing songs that are kind of more Megadethy. But anyways, yeah, that's yeah, the cadences are cool because I even recorded them for him, put it on top of the song. As soon as he got it, I deleted them because I hated my voice so much on those. Never to be found again.
It's lost in the digital obscurity, if that's what we want to call it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the government could find them if they want them.
Probably. And actually, yeah, but I don't have so much problem with doing the growls or screaming wise. It's more when I try to sing it, for instance, too.
Oh yeah. I did not get gifted with a singing voice for sure.
That's my problem too, yeah. And then it feels like the dust finally gets in and like tickles the throat, and you just start coughing. Yeah, it's so weird.
Same. For some reason, from the mouth to the ear doesn't work, but when I hear from my amp, I can. Hey, that's not in tune, or that's in tune. It's unfortunate paradox there.
But your drummer, the Ukrainian, I guess, how's he doing recently? Is he still on the other side of the world? Is he here in the States?
Oh, so the drummer actually used two different drummers. One guy is named Mikey Smith. He's from Nova Scotia. And then the other guy that I used for half of the album, if you go to the Bandcamp, you can see who plays on what. It's in the credits. But Alicio Salveri, he's on Fiverr, and he's actually from Argentina. And something about that South American feel, like Brazil, I just love their drumming patterns, their ideas to be more percussive, more to the riff of the guitar. For me, the other guy's more of I would say a rock drummer. So some of the songs that I feel like were more rock, except for Pride Comes Destruction, which is like the death metal song track on from the album. I let him do that just because I hadn't found the other drummer yet, and I didn't want to have to redo it, so I just stuck with him on that song particularly. But yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, they communicate well on Fiverr. I don't know if you know anything about Fiverr, but they're not really allowed to give you any of their personal information. So you kind of just only talk to them on Fiverr. It's really hard to find them otherwise.
I know a little bit of Fiverr. I would say not too much. No, I would like to try to get into it, but I can see why.
Yeah.
Right. But Slava Ukraine, nonetheless. Yes. So, okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so, Anton Kaptili, he's from Ukraine. He does the synthesizers on the block. Yeah. But a real nice guy, real great communicator. Told him exactly what I wanted. He came above and beyond, honestly. If you listen to the album, you really put it on headphones, you can hear stuff he's doing back there. It's pretty cool.
God bless Anton, then. All right.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to talk about earlier, too. Sorry, I got mixed up with the drummers. All right.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I tend to have long-winded answers, so yeah, it happens.
Everything starts to blend together, unfortunately. So,
yeah, for sure.
But Slava Ukraine, nonetheless. Slava Ukraine. Right. I guess let's go ahead and jump into the hard topic of COVID here, too. So I guess, where were you living at before COVID hit?
I was still here. I live in a little town called Leander above Austin, just like 20-minute drive from Austin. But yeah, I was living here. Was actually working as a district manager for 7 restaurants that my uncle actually owned the company, a barbecue place. I don't know, but you're up there in PA, right?
Steel City, PA, Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have a lot of Texas barbecue up there, but that's basically what we were. We cooked everything in-house, and, I got to do that. And for some reason, he always had a strong faith, kind of what my whole family, that's probably where my faith comes from mostly, is just being brought up in it. He felt like God was telling him it was time to sell. So at the time, he had 15 restaurants. He sold in November of 2019, and then we all know the dreaded few months that came. So I stuck it out with the new company till, I guess, almost 6 months. And man, they had me firing people and had me, it was just awful. And then just the whole wearing a mask in a hot kitchen where you got, because like I said, we cooked everything in house, and we had this huge barbecue pits in there, and it was just miserable. AC not working. They didn't want to fix it. They were tight on money. They basically demoted me, cut my pay by 20%. So I was like, you know what? Screw this. So I quit. I stopped working, lived off my savings, didn't take any money from the government. Uh, but same thing with my wife. She actually got the whatever check that was getting, but she wasn't laid off. They just, she worked for daycare. So we lived on that for, I think, till July for 4 months. Just stick around the house, and I played my guitar. Toward the end, toward those last couple months, June, July, when everything started lifting up a little bit for Texas, at least. I know kind of up there in the East Coast and some of the other states, they kept it pretty strict. I don't know how it was there for you guys in Pennsylvania, but in Texas and Florida, we started allowing things a little quicker. So I started inviting my drummer back over, and we jam out my garage. So kept honing those skills, but finally had to get a job in July of that year, 2020, and start over, because I did restaurants since I was 13 years old, or doing lawn landscaping with on the side for extra money. So actually continued to do that through COVID. So now I remember that. I have a cousin that owns his own company, so he, you ever want any cash, come down here, I'll give you some work. But yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess that's how it affected me. As far as musically, I didn't stop. I kept practicing, playing, try to play every day if I can.
All I can do, really. I guess I don't know if Mad Mex counts as a Tex or Mex-Tex or a restaurant too. So because personally, I've never really eaten there. So I know we have a couple up in our neck of the woods there too. But I think the closest one that I think would count as Mex-Tex sort of food is Texas Roadhouse, if we can count that one.
Yeah, I love Texas Roadhouse. Yeah.
That's a good biscuit in there.
Count it. Yeah, it's a little stereotypical, but whatever.
I mean, hey, you put the name Texas in there too, so we're assuming it's that. So
you gotta play to it a little bit for sure. Yeah, but I like Texas Roadhouse. Give you a lot of food for your money, good value, I think.
Oh yeah, they've always delivered there too. I was one with the ribs or a nice juicy burger too. So
yeah, they do a great job. I can't say anything bad about it. There's a lot of them. They're everywhere for sure. Got one just 10 minutes away from me, so.
I think we always got to drop the quote whenever we eat a nice burger. For instance, like, "This is a tasty burger."
That's a tasty burger. All right.
No Pulp Fiction reference, yeah. So
that's awesome.
Before I jump back into the restaurant business, I guess, did you have any brushes with COVID? Were you, your wife, family okay?
Yeah, nobody really got too affected. I've had it like 3 times. My wife's had it a couple of times. There's only one time that was bad. Had me down for about 2 days. Lost smell for a little while. But I do have one of my uncles that actually worked in one of the restaurants that my older uncle owned. He got close to he got hospitalized, got put on the ventilator. Everybody was telling him don't do it. He did it anyways. Excuse me. But he almost died. Yeah, he was really close. But he, by the grace of God, he made it through it. He's doing great now. Still runs out of breath real easy. So it had long-term effects on him. But he's doing good now. He's happy. He's running his own restaurant. Once my uncle sold, he ventured off and started his own barbecue restaurant in a small town near here. But other than that, nobody else. Everybody's had it. And I have a big family. I have my mom's side, I have 5 uncles, 4 aunts. My dad's side, same thing. So lots of cousins, lots of second cousins, and I owe it to my grandmother. I think God rest her soul. She'd always, every time I go over to see her, she was always praying for everyone. So I think sorry to keep throwing God at people that don't believe or whatever. But that's just my story and my faith. Nothing against anybody that doesn't. But I feel like her prayers have kept our family pretty safe from a lot of tragedies that unfortunately people got affected by COVID and just day to day stuff.
It's all good. Yeah, it's good to hear that too. So good to have you along for the ride here, Alfred. So
Nice.
so. And I guess go into the restaurant business first. I guess first off, what were you specifically doing? Were you kind of jumping around between duties with like accounting and cooking wise?
So when my uncle started his own restaurant, he invited me because I'd worked on him before when I was a teenager or even younger. So I'm in my 20s at this point when he invited me up here to Austin. He said, "Hey, I started a barbecue restaurant. I need a manager." So I came up, checked it out. So yeah, this is great. So he helped me move my family up here, and I was living in a very small town where I met my wife. There was nothing there. It was a town of like 2,500 people. So you can imagine, it was very boring. But so as soon as he's like, "Hey, I'm up here in Austin," we're jumping at, because I always went to Austin for shows, for entertainment, those things like that. But yeah, he came up here, worked for him for almost 20 years. So started as a manager, uh, became a general manager. Then when he opened up several restaurants, eventually gave me a district manager job where I was running 7 to 8 restaurants at one time and traveling around just checking on people. This is how I did it. This is the way we should do it. Blah blah blah. It's basically babysitting adults. That's what district managing is. But yeah, I got into the whole administration of it. Writing up processes and sitting at a desk. I was like, hey, I like sitting at a desk better than walking around on these hard floors and getting all greasy. And it's always good with customer service. Never had too many issues. People aren't perfect. Neither am I. So you just have to give them grace when you can. But yeah, that's basically what I did. That for those 20 years, and before that, I did little odds and ends cooking jobs with other restaurants. Just always seemed to be the thing I always gravitated to. Never really liked it a lot, but it gave me the time and space to do my hobbies. Playing guitar.
Yeah, a job's very good when it gives you some space here and there to actually work on some of our like hobbies in that case. So yeah, I can see why. I work in the restaurant business too, but it's not anything like that. We're kind of a small local family joint. It's just only one location,
Nice.
and I'm really kind of doing a jack of all trades. Not really doing anything with like accounting or managerial wise. It's just more cooking, cleaning, kind of doing like the dishwashing, and then prepping inventory and stuff like that.
Right.
So
Right.
mine's a typical bar and grill. So and then we have karaoke nights. Do you ever do karaoke nights at the places you worked at?
No, I don't want to put anybody through that, man. That went with my singing. But no, we never did any of that. I wish we would have did live bands. I always uh, told my uncle, hey, we should have some live performances, because some of the restaurants had the room. Most of them didn't, because we'd always do a lot of shopping center locations, which they don't give you much room, and you can't really do live performances, and they're pretty strict about trying to do it outside. You know how that goes. So yeah, I never did any kind of cool entertaining like that, unfortunately. Even though it would have been great, some country music, barbecue in Texas. I mean, come on, you wouldn't have been able to keep the doors closed. Yeah.
Be a packed house every Friday or Saturday night. So yeah,
Yeah,
they sleep it all. They sleep off the hangovers on Sunday then. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, we were open every day. It don't matter. You just keep drinking, I guess.
you're supposed to rest on Sunday. What the hell, man?
Yeah, I know, no, I know. Hey, I made that argument. I didn't make the rules. He did.
Clearly,
He
but
would probably would have
nonetheless,
said something, God can rest whenever he wants to. We got to keep going. He would probably said something like that.
I mean, the dark joke is like you can rest as much as you want when you're dead. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I'm sure he said that a time or two, and I said, "Man, I'm tired." Something like that. Yeah, he was kind of a rough boss, but he was very loving, very caring, very helped you out when he knew you couldn't have any other way. Otherwise, he uh, kind of rode with not with an iron fist, but with a little grit. Let's say it like that.
I would have said brotherly love, but I don't think that's correct. But so
Yeah,
family
love.
love.
How about tough love? There you
Tough
go.
love, yeah. Yeah. Some tough love. So yeah.
That's right.
Anyway. And actually all the restaurants that you did work in, was this all part of the same family restaurant, or I guess was it all different chains of restaurants?
No, we're all the same. We're called Smoky Mo's Barbecue. His name was Morris, so he went by Mo, and so they were all the same. Every one of them had their own pit, kind of rotisserie, gas burning, electric starting pits that we cooked every day, and uh, and yeah, they were all exactly. We try to keep them all exactly the same menu. So that's how you're supposed to do franchises, apparently. So kind of, McDonald's made that staple, right? You can go to any McDonald's anywhere, it's going to be the same. And that's what we kind of try to strive for, is to try to make everything the same, which is nearly impossible with barbecue, because you never know what meat you're going to get. You never know how it's going to cook versus the next one. So it was tough, but it worked. It was very successful.
That's good to hear. And I guess, is the place still open these days, or do you pass ownership on to somebody else? I think you mentioned it earlier, right?
Yeah. He passed ownership to somebody else in November of 2019, and they're still going. They're still going strong. They're actually opening up more of them. Uh, so I still go. My youngest daughter, I have 6 kids. My youngest daughter still works for them, and she's actually there at the moment working, and she'll still bring me food from there every once in a while. I don't like to pay for it because barbecue is very expensive, but yeah, they're still doing great. It still tastes good. They simplified the menu, so they're doing good moves. So yeah, still going strong. Pretty proud to say that. Yeah.
That's great to hear. And I guess getting back into COVID a little bit here too, I guess I've interviewed a couple people out of the Austin area too. So maybe you could tell me from your perspective how COVID impacted the music scene. So I guess what you seen with COVID after, I guess before and after COVID, we should say.
So before COVID, man, I used to go to shows all the time. It was great. It was a lot, it's considered the live music capital of the world. I'm sure you've heard that about Austin. Uh, but once COVID hit, I mean, it sucked, and nobody could do anything. You know, YouTube videos, people that are trying to do streaming just wasn't the same. The live streams and stuff. Yeah, like I said, I play. I usually play by myself a lot, anyways, guitars. But with my buddy not coming over for the drumming, kind of gets you out of sync a little bit. Thank God, we have YouTube and people putting drum tracks on there, so I had to kind of resort to that. But nothing's better than having a live drummer, kind of tailored to what your riff is, right? But anyways, yeah, especially here in Austin, it really tore it up, tore the scene up, and some restaurants closed and clubs closed that were iconic, from my experience. But now it's back 100%. It's amazing now. It's great. The only downfall, what that's affecting still, is there's some great restaurants that you always freaking. I'm sure there's restaurants in Pennsylvania that you go to after a show that you can always count on to be open at 2 a.m. and get whatever you want, sit down and talk about the show, stuff like that. There's no restaurants like that anymore. That sucks, but because that was always great. Now you just got to go home or try to find a taco truck, but was it like that in PA too? We had a certain trucks. Place you could go.
I'd say I haven't done a whole lot of different shows, I should say, because I recently got back into more of like last year. Maybe it's like a couple of years too, because obviously I got to work, pay bills, and there's also vacation with the family too. So, okay. I mean, I tried to. I think this year I did like 3 separate shows. The first one was actually beginning of this year with Story of the Year. And then then I got Green Day and then Iron Maiden later on this year too. So I'm actually pretty pumped about this.
Awesome. Nice.
Basically after a show, I'm done. I just want to go home.
You wear yourself out, huh? Get into the pit.
Not. Oh no, I stay far away from the pit as possible too. I'm
Oh,
not risking anything.
okay.
Sometimes I think some of those shows they're not on a weekend too; they're on a weekday too. So you don't want to come looking jacked up to work the next day. So
That's a good story. see the other guy, one of those stories.
oh, I totally kicked this guy's ass. So, yeah.
Yeah, I still at 50. I still like to get into the pit and get knocked around a little bit. So it's fun, man. The only thing is the karate mashers. Sometimes I don't. I'm like, come on, I'm not going near that. People throwing fists and kicks. What do you feel about that kind of slam dancing or whatever you want to call it?
I think that's a good excuse
selfish.
I was gonna say, whatever drugs they're on, that's probably a good excuse not to be on whatever they're on. So,
Right.
so.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I do remember Whitechapel way back in the day. I think this was actually back in high school for me. I think it was This Is Exile where they line people up on like separate sides and they kind of just do a nice little body mosh or whatever you want to call it too, where they jump on top of each other.
Yeah. I think Slipknot started out where they make you split up. Some of the best live shows if you've ever been to a Slipknot show. But anyways, they have the crowd split up, and then when that drop riff comes in, they make them run at each other and just end up on top of each other. Yeah, never been part of that. I wouldn't try to. Played football, that was enough.
I always thought theirs was more of the jump the fuck up sort of thing too. I thought it was like spitting it out wherever everyone crouches down. And right when it gets to like the breakdown.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've never seen that one done, but yeah, that sounds fun.
Well, they always do that one with spit it out, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe most of the time, I don't know. So haven't seen too many.
Yeah.
So. But they're still going strong there too. Speaking of Slipknot, they actually did their 25th anniversary dressed in their old outfits for the most part.
I saw that. Yeah, pretty cool.
They're going strong there too. I love those crazy assholes though. They stick to their guns.
That's right. They do. Yeah.
That too. And like I said earlier, it's good to see you and your family out there doing their well there too. So God bless you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. God bless you guys too.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the almighty gear behind you there too. So I guess what you got?
Yeah, so I did basically everything on the LTD flying D kind of. You can see that. Did everything on there with the MG 81s, 85s. This is the LT RDM 401 live pickups. So I did all the songs with this guitar here. I used my Marshall cabinet with my Mesa Boogie rectifier lead. And then I used this bass that I picked up at a pawn shop, if you believe it or not. Ibanez. I don't know the model number on this one, but I used this for the whole album as well. Great bass, just perfect. Love the color, love the style of it, the sound. This actually has live pickups as well. I'm not sure. I've always liked playing bass, but I never got too deep into it. The gear and stuff that they put, like the better pickups. But I've always liked the 81, 85s and electric guitars, just because of the old school sound. I think everybody can appreciate that. And then, of course, I have some pedals here that I use. I got the overdrive tube screamer. Let's see if I can get them up here real quick. They're kind of glued down, but I use a lot of Donner, chorus, flanger, whatever else I got here. Yeah, just basically stuff like that. Pitch shifters, stuff like that. Not too crazy. Mostly like straight out distortion out of the amp, and then I use Shure 8185s. I'm sorry, Shure. What is it called? SM57. Yeah, and then I use the PGA 81. So I use two microphones when I'm recording, and I use the Focusrite. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Focusrite interface, and I use Reaper for my DAW. Best affordable, most I think the better of for metal. as far as versatility and user friendly. In my opinion, I haven't got to use any other ones, but I've seen like Appleton. Uh, what's the other ones? Music Labs.
Got
Another one.
Ableton. I mean,
Ableton.
say Ableton, yeah.
Ableton, yeah. But anyways, I've seen the other ones that my buddies use and stuff like that. And, I think Reaper was my favorite, so picked it up and I was like, oh wow, it's a lot. It's less than $100. So I was like pretty impressed with the price and what you can do with it. So, and as far as that, I got a little equalizer here, a little Eurorack MX 602A. What else? And then this my Dell laptop. Um, that's about it, man. That's how I did it. And I don't know what the guys use. I've never even asked, but now I'm curious of what the other guys use as far as their equipment goes. But maybe I'll put it down somewhere and let you know next time if there's a next time.
Somewhere down the road. And you know what? In most of these interviews, I think the majority of DAWs have been Reapers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, rock. Everybody likes them for rock and heavy metal for some reason. It seems like.
I will say I don't know if I heard anyone in the hip hop who actually used like Reaper or anything like this.
No, they like to go to the most expensive thing they can.
I mean, I roll with Logic, but I mean that's because I roll with Apple Mac here. So I mean, it does a job. So
I wish I could do Apple and everything. I like Apple. I enjoy that product, but yeah, I have to try to keep it medium affordable.
yeah, I would say I think I forget how this works too, but I think if you just had the Apple Mac, it was $200. I think if you wanted to get Logic for like say a Windows or anything like that, I think that was like 400. So yeah, the price probably drew people away. So I think that's why they probably wanted you to get a Mac computer. So,
right. Yeah.
I can see why.
Hey, save money in the long run. That makes sense.
I mean, yeah, there's that too. And actually, what style are your picks too? I guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been switching around. I use the nylon 1 millimeters or the 0.5 millimeters. But Dunlop has been my favorite forever. Yep, Jim Dunlop picks. You can see them, but just a regular style. No, nothing fancy. That's what I've always used. And the faster I want to play, the heavier the pick I use. Slower I want to play, I go to the lighter gray one. I think it's 0.61, something like that. Kind of drastic change, but yeah, that's what I use.
Everyone's got different style picks, so I mean, there's like a whole variety these days. Like what sort of picks you can buy, like here and there. So
yeah, I think I've used those since day one. I never changed up from Jim Dunlop nylon.
are those the same ones you use for the bass, or do you try to experiment using your fingers?
I use the pick. Yeah, for thrash, heavier music, faster music. I just never practiced the bass enough to play fast on there. And I know you can modify, when somebody's playing, 120 beats per minute, you can slow down the bass, play halftime. It still sounds great, but I didn't want to just never practice the bass enough to learn how to do all that. So yeah, I use a pick for the album, but when I'm just going around with it at home and stuff, I'll do some slap and try to play some flea, which is impossible when you don't practice enough on the bass. But yeah, I use the pick.
I think we gotta come up with a term with like slapping the bass too. It's almost like get spanked or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun, man. It sounds cool, especially when you can learn how to, pluck it back after you, hit it with your thumb. It's fun. It sounds cool. It sounds funky. I've always, liked some jazz, funk music. Just went to Donnie Benet show, if you've ever heard of him. Yeah, you'd have to check him out. If you like jazz, kind of a parody of somebody trying to be sexy and smooth when he's not, and he looks the way he looks. It's pretty funny, and it's very good music too. He's an amazing bass player. Yeah. Try to check him out. He's Australian. But yeah, he does a little bit of slap on the bass. Yeah.
I think the one who would say most people would say who's like the best at slapping the bass would be Ryan Martini from Mudvayne.
You think so? What about Les Claypool?
He can be up there, but I think his is more repetitive, if you ask me too. I think
You think Les
Ryan,
Claypool? Okay.
yeah, I think Ryan. If you listen to like LD50, you'll know because even though there's like a certain degree where he might repeat like a riff, for instance,
Mhm.
he mixes it up every now and again. If there's like, how to explain it? If it's like maybe a part leading into something else, maybe to verse part two or whatever, he'll
Right.
try something right there too. So he experimented a lot more. Not to say that Claypool isn't bad or anything like that.
Oh yeah, of
His
course.
his was just more repetitive. His was like just good stuff there too. So
Yeah, he adds a lot of dynamics. Definitely respect the. Yeah, he's way up there for sure. I just never think about him. I don't know why. When it comes to bass playing, whatever. I have to check it
mm.
out. I have to give him a little more appreciation.
I
Always
mean,
love
hey,
him.
there's a lot of bands out there. So I mean, I can see
One
why.
thing blew my head when they blew me away when they came out with that first song, their first single that I never heard them before. Dig, yeah, literally comes in with that bass, like, yeah, it's pretty great.
Like, funny enough, yeah, it is with the thumb that's hitting the top string, and then like he just strums up with like it's two notes. I forget what he's down to in two, but yeah, it's basically that.
You know who I just saw recently, a few months ago, was Jungle Rot. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, death metal band. They play a lot of fast stuff too. And actually hung out with the bassist, and he doesn't use a pick. He actually uses his middle finger. His middle finger is just tore up because he's always just playing that fast riffs with that. He never uses a pick. I thought that was pretty cool. But you had to check him out. He's a pretty cool guy, real likable. Just hung out with everybody, took pictures with everybody. Just what you want from a musician, you know.
Yeah, I have heard of Jungle Rot. I haven't listened to him recently there too, but I know some of their music. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's a little strange though. He would just use his middle finger because it's basically meant to be these two, for
Yeah,
instance.
yeah. I think he did, but mostly his middle finger was just tore up. He said it's pretty funny. It's like, "Where's your pick?" He shot me the middle finger. He's like, "There it is."
Well, needs to say you walked yourself into that one. So
Yeah, I did. I opened the door for that one for sure. I walked
yeah,
right into it.
I was just gonna say I like to be brutalized. It helps my spirit.
Yes, keeps you humble, right?
I do. Yeah, all right, that's a pretty cool story. Actually, where did you see Jungle Rot? Was that one of the big venues in Austin?
No, it was actually a place called Come and Take It Live. Probably you could probably fit 400 or 500 people in. They have a balcony uh, right in Austin, off of Riverside. Go to a lot of shows for that. Yeah, just saw cattle decapitation and Carniflex. And the main band I wanted to go see that I wanted to give them a shout out, the Zenith Passage. If you like tech metal, kind of like Archspire, stuff like that, they're a great band to go see live and just to check out their album. Very unique, very different than a lot of metal out there. But yeah, that's a nice little club for metal shows for sure.
Everyone's got a little metal right here and there too, so I can see why.
Yes, right. Yeah,
Yeah. So let's jump into how you structure up a song, for instance. So I
sure.
guess do you always write the music first, and then I guess you send it off to your bandmates to do, and then do the lyrics last?
Mostly I do the music first. I practice whenever I practice. If I come up with a riff that I really like, I'll use that, tie it up to another riff. Usually it just flows, just by the grace of God. I think, I think all talent comes from God. A lot of times I'll just hear it and play it, and it just kind of evolves from itself. And then I'll throw lyrics on top of it after that. I'll come up with a premise. Try to be ironic. If it's a really chugging, song, I'll try to find something either to correlate or to kind of be opposite of that. Just depends on how I feel that day. But then I'll do the lyrics next, come up with a cadence, and then I'll send it off. And I usually just use a drum track that I find somewhere as I'll figure out how fast I'm playing the song with the metronome. and then I'll find a drum beat that goes as close to it as possible, throw that underneath it, send it off to the vocalist, do the cadence, of course, with it and without it, of how I hear it in my head. And like I said, Alex Hamilton is an amazing, talented guy. I think I've only had to ask him to revise his vocals like once, a couple of times. The rest, he just knocks it out of the park, which is really hard to find. But anyways, I do that, and then I'll send it off to the drummer, and then to Anton, the keyboardist, synth guy, and that's pretty much it. That's how I did this album mostly.
I guess who'd you say was the one that mixes and masters everything for you?
Yeah, so his name is Bogdan. You can go to Nicofix. Let me look it up. But anyways, Nicofix, yeah. Yeah, Nicofix.com or .net. Sorry, guys. But yeah, he did the mixer and the mastering. He mostly does black metal and shoegaze, which is two opposites if you ask me. But anyways, but this is like his, I think, one of the first kind of death metal thrash albums that he's mixed and mastered, and I think he did a great job.
I guess, how'd you meet him? Did you just meet him on Fiverr?
No, so Bogdan, my buddy Ryan Georgie, he did his own album. That's kind of what inspired me too to do my own, because he put out his own. He's more into black metal. Not a big. I respect it, but I'm not a big black metal fan. But definitely respect the talent and know how hard it is to play and all that and what goes into it. Some of it's really cool, especially the atmospheric stuff. But he actually did his own album. His band's called Zatar, and his whole premise is Star Trek. He's a big Star Trek fan, so all his music's about Star Trek, but it's black metal spin on it. Some people would say it's more death metal, but I think it's more black metal. But anyways, he found Bogdan, I think, through Fiverr, and Bogdan doesn't do Fiverr anymore. He just kind of has his website out there, his Instagram, all that. So that's how I found him, was through a buddy.
That's a pretty cool story. I'm going to say Star Trek, black and death metal.
Yeah, you should check it out. He's super smart. Ryan's a super smart guy. His lyrics are very confusing, which is fun because he'll talk about episodes and he just knows the episodes. So he never pays for cable, so he just watches and streams stuff over and over. So he'll watch those shows and knows them back and forth. So it's pretty fun to read his lyrics, because you definitely can't understand what the guy's saying on his album. But that goes with some bands,
I was gonna say, is it because he's speaking of like the Star Trek sort of languages? I don't know. That makes stand out.
Yeah, and his new stuff that he's working on, they should have out sometime this year. The vocalist, he got the same vocalist, and he's actually doing some droning that is pretty unique that I haven't heard. I was like, man, that's pretty smart, because it's, you're exploring space. You come across aliens that maybe they just drone when they talk. So it's pretty funny. Name of the guy is nicomix.net. Sorry. Yeah. Nicomix.
All right. Shout out to Nico. Thanks for putting everything together, brother.
Yeah, that's Bogdan. He's a great guy. Real helpful too. Trying to help me with, some other stuff too, to get the album out there. So follow him on Instagram.
That's good. And actually, I was trying to figure out what they would do with like a Star Wars black and death metal thing too. Let's say like they dress up as Jawas, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? Jedis. That'd be fun.
I mean, hey, one can dream. So I'll have to see what
your guitar could be light up like a lightsaber. I don't know.
Not too sure. I don't know. It's like if it's like a live sort of event, it'd be like the lights just go out too, and then all of a sudden you just see the red lightsaber, and then the traditional Darth Vader breathing. So.
I can hear it. I can see it. Be entertaining for sure.
Yeah. All right. But whatever next. It's all good.
Right.
So. And I guess jump into lyrics wise too. So, do you normally look for a Bible verse and then try to put it down on paper, or you try to do what's written in the Bible word for word? Because that's what Bond of Iniquity does.
No, I always put my interpretation of it. I feel like when you read it yourself, I think it's a living word, and it's going to resonate with whatever you're going through, whatever your experiences in life is. Uniqueness to your the way your brain works, the way your perspectives. So if there is any word for words, because I really took it for word, but if I interpreted it uh, for myself and experiences, that's mostly what I do. But I don't. Uh, Sometimes I don't even have Bible verses in there. I just have Bible stories. If you look at the lyrics for "Pride Comes Destruction," it's about Esther, the story of Esther, and how she became queen of uh, Pharaoh. But if I love that story because it doesn't mention God through the whole book and from the Bible, but it represents God in a certain way, and that's kind of how I feel my songs are. You don't really need His word if your heart's in the right place. You're doing it out of love and caring for other people. Uh, it'll define itself basically.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think the reason why Bond of Iniquity does it word for word from the Bible, I think it's because he doesn't want people to then say like, "Oh, it means like this and that," or kind of go into that whole debate sort of stage. I think Ritual Servant does like kind of the same thing you do as well. It's like maybe more so like this is what the Bible says, and he just puts it into his own words. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's on purpose. That and I think sometimes people need that for word for word. I'm kind of guy. I read a book. I have to read it over and over. Certain paragraphs because I'm just like my mind somewhere else, or else I just don't get it right away. So I think some people are the opposite, where they can read instructions, they can read a book, and they get it right there. So for people that like it like that, I understand. Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah.
And I guess my next question right here, I guess, first off, do you still work multiple jobs?
No, I actually work for a tech company now, which I was always wanted to do because I never thought I'd ever get it. I give God all the glory for that because I don't have any kind of education for that. I just happen to have a brother-in-law that worked for a company that's called Flash Parking. We actually do those parking kiosks that you see in parking garages or parking lots that charge you an arm and a leg to park there. So I actually do shipping and dispatch for that. And we're nationwide. We actually have some sites in Canada, Hawaii. I think we're trying Mexico. I think we're trying Mexico now next. So, but anyways, that's what I do now. Is I just sit at a desk with a bunch of screens and talk to field technicians and take some phone calls from our customers, not from Parkers, just from customers, and yeah, just do that, man. They pay me pretty well, and I'm able to maintain the bills and do my hobby on the side. So nothing can be better. Life is good.
That's great to hear. Actually, it's probably a good thing not from the Parkers because I think they'd be pissed off at you for some reason. So
Yeah, you get them every once in a while, and yeah, that's why I'm in customer service. You just know how to deal with it. You just let them know you understand. If I was in that situation, I'd feel the same way. You just give them a little grace, a little patience, and let them know that you understand. Try to do the best you can to help them out. Even we actually don't even are required to take phone calls from Parkers, but we try to anyways. Try to get them the right phone number, stuff like that. But mostly we're there for the people that pay us to have their equipment and have our equipment in their garages.
it's always like, all right, Karen, you and your husband have a good day right there. So
Yeah, we get them. Believe me, I'm sure you can understand. Yeah, you're in the restaurant business. I'm sure you get a little disgruntled patrons every once in a while.
actually, I think I only witnessed like one. I think fortunately it was like was just one guy who was pretty much a little drunk, but he didn't want to pay his tab because he said, just pull the money out of the machine, just do it that way too. And that didn't work out. So I remember little scuffle there. One kind of happened yesterday too, because I guess my manager got a call on the phone from someone who was being a little rowdy, I guess, before I got there. So I don't know the whole story, but it's whatever at that point. So
Yeah.
you always run into one, sadly.
Yep.
But actually, it was leading to this question too, I guess. So what sort of challenges do you face as a musician these days?
I haven't done a lot of playing in front of people, so I want to do that. I think that it's always been part of my dream of being a musician. So I definitely, finding the right people, find that chemistry that you want. Love to find a band and just have the time to do it and the energy and yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge is trying to perform live because most record companies don't want to touch you if you're not a live performer. So I definitely want to, praying and hoping for that. If it doesn't happen, I'm okay with that. I just love putting music out, love creating music. Either way, I just go with the flow on it. But yeah, not too much. Like I said, life is good right now. I have time to jam when I want to. I have my son, he's a musician too, and I can go jam with him. He mostly plays bass, but he actually plays drums, guitars too. And now he's learned how to do playing synthesizers. So, and he's trying to learn how to be a little engineer. And he's really super smart. Really blessed to have him around whenever I need to broaden my music influences because he likes every kind of music you can think of. He goes from country to jazz to classical. He just goes all over. He likes metal too, but he's just really open-minded, more than I am for sure.
That sounds good. You need those kind of people these days. And
Yeah.
actually, I was about to say, like, oh God, he's turning into you.
No.
Musically
He's
wise.
not. Yeah, I get it.
Let's just say musically wise. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
That's good to hear. So God bless your kid nonetheless. So
Yeah, thank you.
actually, the reason I bring up that question too is like challenges normally come more like for the financial wise, but I think I've also brought up like AI, for instance, there too. So I guess have you used any AI for like art wise or anything like that?
One time when I was writing some lyrics, I used AI just to see what it would do, and I hated it. So I was like, "This sounds too not too perfect. It just sounded cheesy." So I was like, "No, no, it's not metal. The AI does not understand the element and emotion of metal, so I'm not worried about it too much." As far as that goes, for pop music, I would be really worried about it for them because I think that kind of veers that way. Not that AI won't learn, but in my song Inertia, I talk about technology and how you gotta not fear it, just embrace it, and just know that it's part of God's will, and technology is not our enemy. It's you gotta embrace it and go with it. And, I don't think anything could ever replicate the soul of man.
I would hope not, but I would say I think it's one of those double-edged swords. For instance, too, like if you're struggling like with a writer's block, or like if you're really tight budget, for instance, too, in terms of like you can't afford like an artist to come and like do your artwork for you to make
Right.
like a logo, I'd say yeah, I think that's where it becomes necessary. Other times it's
Yeah.
like if you have the money, pay for some talent right there too, because first off, you're helping the economy out too. So that's kind of why I bring it up there too. So
Yeah, the artwork's a good point, Brian, because I actually lucky I have a cousin that's a very talented artist. He actually he worked for Disney. Now he works for Nintendo, and he does a lot of the artwork for their games. And he actually did the album cover. He actually painted that. If you zoom in on the album cover, you can see the canvas that he painted that on. But anyways, yeah, I can see using AI for the artwork, especially because sometimes artwork can be pretty expensive. Or but as far as anything else, I don't know if you can. I haven't heard anything that AI can replicate when it comes to metal music and soundscapes. Maybe I'm naive to it. I just don't really explore it too much.
I guess so. But I'll have to see what happens here too. So tread carefully.
Yeah, carefully is right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
Don't fear it.
Don't fear the Reaper. How about that?
That's right.
So, yeah,
Embrace it. Hug 'em. Everybody needs a hug.
that too. Yeah, and I think I might have mentioned this earlier too. But I guess what social media are you on currently?
So I'm still working on that. It's very, very fresh, very infant in the infant stage. But I do have Instagram. It's Messianic Metal on Instagram. Have a page that I think you found me on. Facebook page, Messianic Metal. Do working on my website. I'm gonna actually use Squarespace today to get the website. I already bought the domain like months ago. And that's going to be messianicband.com. Eventually going to sell some merch. Just waiting on things to more develop, get the PR going. Also on, I just downloaded TikTok because I never mess with TikTok, but I'm going to go ahead and get it on there. Might as well, you can't beat them, join them, right? So, so I'll eventually have that. Yep, yeah, eventually find me everywhere. And I have my album being reviewed right now by Root Note. They're a distributing company. So once they approve it, it should be out June 18th on all platforms. So you'll be able to find it no matter where you go.
That's good. And I don't know if you're part of this group, but we have a indie Facebook group called Band Together. And if you want to join, you're welcome to join there too, because we're doing some wonders out in the world. So
yeah, what's it called? I'll write it down.
So it's band like a rock band, for instance, and then together, band together.
Okay, I get it. Cool. Facebook.
Yep, it's on Facebook. It's something Box and Sticks, aka Christina and Greg, they all put together there too. So it's really helped out us indie musicians. So it's all good.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely join that for sure. Appreciate the link.
No worries. But what's kind of leading into this question right here too. So I guess for those musicians on social media or your neck of the woods in general, I guess what advice would you give to them?
Practice every day. Make the time to always play. Try to play with other people. Makes you better. Makes them better. What is that saying? Sharp stone. I don't remember. Sword sharpens the other sword. Sharpens. Well, I can't remember the saying. It's from the Bible too. But anyways, play with the musicians. Practice every day. If you come up with an idea and you come across obstacles that's stopping you from doing it, don't stop. Figure it out. I always rely on my faith. So whenever I have any God, I feel like God cares about everything that you do, everything you think, everything that no matter how minute or small or first world problem it is. I think God cares about your happiness, and that's the way I always look at it. I've had songs where I just can't find the next riff, and then 2 weeks later it just comes to me. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you got people starving around the world, and that's what you're worried about." But that's what we're talking about, right? So struggles as a musician and advice. That's kind of where my experience has always helped me. Is just leaning on that patience. As far as finances go, every paycheck I put a little away, save a little, give a little, pay my bills. Whatever I've left over, I usually put toward my music, toward my hobby. So it's more of a hobby at this point. If it ever becomes a first job, that'd be my dream come true. But that's kind of my advice for musicians. Trying to hold a job and make it happen at the same time. Be patient, but don't stop.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, I think that's in the Bible too.
Something like that. Actually, I think the one you're trying to mention earlier, I thought it was like trying to be a story against a whetstone or something like that too. So I'm not too sure. Yeah. I don't think it means what I think it is.
It's iron sharpens iron. That's it. That's the word. That's the phrase I was trying to think of.
Okay, so fair enough there too.
Jamming with other people.
Yeah. Maybe too much jamming with other people. So,
yeah.
Hey, that's all good. So, Alfred, we briefed the questions here pretty good. So here, let's jump into the fun ones. Ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So start here with the first one. So I guess, so what would you consider is your favorite food?
Italian food, probably. Any type of Italian food, spaghetti, pizza, lasagna. Uh, yeah. You would think it would be barbecue, but it isn't.
I was gonna say you're around it pretty much most of your life, to be honest. So
still,
consider
I
that
still,
or something Mexican.
yeah, I still love it. But yeah, and it makes food. I grew up on Mexican food, so I could take it or leave it. But Italian food is my guilty pleasure, 100%.
Somehow I thought your guilty pleasure would have been quesadillas, just like
Right?
smothering in the cheese.
Quesadillas are great. Can't go wrong with cheese and tortillas.
That's true, yeah. So fair enough. All right. And next one, what would you say is your favorite movie?
Recently, I enjoyed Poor Things. It's not a very Christian like movie to watch, but a lot of sexual scenes in it. But Emma Stone's a great actress. Uh, I like that. When it comes to older movies, I would say like war movies or cowboy movies. Platoon, True Grit. I love that movie. Watch it every once in a while. A lot of old westerns. Unforgiven. Don't really have one. I watch too many movies to say I have one favorite movie. So I could go with genres maybe and give you like two or three from each genre. So I'm a big movie person. I love movies, love shows. So yeah,
You're big into Clint Eastwood sort of films back in the day with Outlaw Josie Wells.
100%. Yeah, love it. Yeah, I keep meaning to get a picture of Clint Eastwood up here. When he was in Good, Bad, and Ugly. One day come across a Goodwill or something maybe.
Probably. Actually, I thought I saw a picture hanging on one of your walls. It was from one of the movies. I couldn't tell what it was. So I wasn't sure. Do you have a poster or something?
No, I got a Deftones banner up. Just got like I'm big. I'm from Texas, so I got to be a Cowboys fan, right? Not a Texans fan. But no, I don't have anything up for movies yet. This is a rental, our house that we live in now, so I don't want to put up too much stuff. When we get our own house again, uh, definitely deck it out with all my likings.
I was like, that explains why I don't live in Houston anymore. So
No, I'm not doing Austin. Yeah, so whenever we did own a house, and then before all the people coming from different states here really jacked up the prices, so we couldn't resist. That's pretty much how I was able to afford to do this album. We sold our house and came out, on top pretty significantly, where I had money I could just throw at the whole project. So
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
And for the next fun questions, first off, do you drink?
I do drink, but not very much. Maybe very occasionally. But I mean, bottle of whiskey will last me 6 months to a year. Just depends. Uh, as far as I go out to eat or something, I'll have a beer, two at the most. And if I drink, I don't know, once or twice a week, if that.
It's kind of related to this question too, but first off, I always like to ask because sometimes people have been raging alcoholics in the past, so I always like to ask first. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink?
So favorite alcohol, I guess an old fashioned. I like whiskey. The good cigar sometimes. As far as non-alcoholic, I just like bubbly water, all flavors. I like Topo Chicos. I like Liquid Death. I like Waterloos. If you ever heard of that, I think they're out of Texas. Yeah, it's just different flavors of drinks, non-sugary stuff. As far as sugary drinks, I like lemonade. I love lemonade. Tea.
As you just said Waterloo, I immediately thought of that song that because we do karaoke at the restaurant I work at, which is like every first and third of the month, Saturday I should say, first Saturday and third Saturday of each month,
Nice.
and usually there's one woman that comes up and she'll sing the song. I guess it's called Waterloo. I don't know who sings the song, but
Yeah, I don't either, but that's cool. No, it's just a type of distributor for bubbly water.
Buble the water. It was
Yeah,
Michael Bublé. Yeah. That's immediately what I was thinking of too. So they like, oh man, don't tell me he's pronouncing it wrong, like bubbly or buble or whatever.
Yeah,
So
Buble. Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, that guy seems to do whatever he can these days. So that's all good.
I think he was. I think I got to see him on Broadway when my wife went to New York for her Christmas gift. I took her to New York in January. We went and saw what was that? Dang it, the barber that kills people. The show that
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd. Yeah, we went and saw Sweeney Todd on Broadway, and I think he did the lead. I think it was him. Anyways, like you said, he's doing what he can.
I guess so. I wasn't too sure. In fact, actually, the way we kind of described it too, it was almost like it was a play.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't seen. I think I was like a Johnny Depp and then whoever that actress was that played Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So, hey, gotta respect them too. So.
Yeah.
And for the last fun questions here, Alfred, I guess what would you say is currently your favorite song or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
My favorite song is always the song I'm working on. So it's a little selfish, but yeah. But as far as songs I'm listening to, I've been listening to a lot of the Zenith Passage. Uh, can't really think of their song names. It's probably the first three songs I like. I just let them play. Um, yeah, I guess those were it. What song have I been hearing lately that I like? There's a band called Brat. They're from Louisiana. They got a female front lady. Uh, they got a song that's out on YouTube that's I can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of one of my favorite songs at the moment. And just the irony of this crazy, kind of cute blonde chick, big long hair, and just crazy guttural, manly roars. Uh, just the irony of that, I like it. It's pretty good.
I would say I have known a couple, maybe not personally, but mainly on the radio with like some of the metal bands I listen to who have been like females who have like good gutturals. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can't forget, Spirit Box. I mean, Courtney LaPlante. I mean, I think she's number one at it. Maybe Ginger. People argue Ginger. Tatiana from Ginger is probably even better, but whatever. I enjoy Spirit Box too. Some of their songs are really good. I like the melody. She does really great choruses.
I would say I think the best one, this could be debatable, but I know Tatiana's pretty much right there, but I think most people would have said Arch Enemy, like both the female singers that they had in their group. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think a new one now is like Escuela Grind, who's like recently coming up.
The Squill and Grind.
Yeah.
Is that what you say? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Lauren, what is it? Lauren Shore. They're pretty good at that.
I don't think that was a female singer though.
No, you're right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
He does have good gutturals, but not a female. But
yeah.
nonetheless, still kicking some ass too. So yeah, and but good choices nonetheless there too. So
Yeah.
all good. All right, want to make sure we didn't have an awkward silence moment right there. So
Oh, you gotta have them.
every now and again, yeah, whatever you're trying to think. So I can say.
Yeah.
But Alfred, we breezed through the questions here pretty good. So we're down to one last question. But I guess before we jump into it, did you have any questions for me or any final words you want to say before we jump into it?
Yeah, and then just thanks for having me. It's my first interview, so it's good practice. And just like to know a little about yourself. Actually, I know you're a drummer. Really haven't had a chance to explore too much. Are you in a band? Do you get to enjoy, doing? Have you got to interview anybody that you're really proud of? Stuff like that.
I would say my most proud moment was actually Dallas Toller Wade from Nile, and now he's part of Narcotic Wasteland.
Okay, cool.
So that one I would say was the proudest. But I'm pretty much happy with all the interviews I have done. I mean, I've interviewed a number of people in and around the world. A good number of talk in the States, yeah. So
Nice.
each one varied in terms of like the music style. I mean, it's meant to be all music, so you meant to like get some of those hip hop guys as well. So
Right.
you get the way. And I have not played in a band. I've actually tried to get into a cover band where we would have done like '90s alternative, like Smashing Pumpkins, Raconteurs.
Awesome. I love all that. Yeah.
So there was that, and unfortunately, it didn't pan out. So after that, I just kind of rolled on my own. I kind of roll under my name, Demiurge, and I've kind of collaborated with just two people so far, but now I'm trying to work on like a third and a fourth. was like one is part of iniquity, the other one's engulfed in hate, which are actually the two guys, and they're actually one's based in Baltimore, the other one's based in Puerto Rico. So
Oh,
both
wow.
have Hispanic descent, and they like a lot of the same heavy metal music that I'm kind of into as well.
Nice.
Sorry, kind of needed a blow right there. So it's in the works right now, but right now it's just mainly collaborating. I think at some point I would like to try to put my music together. Otherwise, I think I just do like one big collaboration with various musicians, and each song will be like a little bit different. So
Yeah, that'd be a fun project. Sound like it'd be very versatile. I like that. Yeah.
have to see what happens, but we can include Alfred Garza as well too if we want.
Sure. Throw something out there for you.
Yeah. But if you also need any help, I am a drummer as well. So I'm actually going to get a new drum set here pretty soon here too. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. So
What kind?
it's still going to be electronic. I think it would be a hybrid sort of set, but it wouldn't look more like your traditional set. It's still going to be a roll-in.
Okay.
And if you go with the brand of it is, I can just show you a picture, but it's one of those more traditional sort of looking sets. So
Oh, okay.
To be determined. So
There you go. TBD. Got it.
you have anything else?
No, man. That's it. I appreciate the time. It's fun. I'd like to do it again.
At some point, yeah. Actually, you're pretty much everybody else. Everybody wants to have like a second interview at some point. So
All right. Once
we'll see what happens.
once the album takes off, get a little more recognition, be glad to do it again.
If you want, though, I do my Big Rib show. So if you want to send any songs on my way, send it to my Gmail account too. So if you want to be a part of it, just let me know.
Will do. All right. Sounds good.
But for the last question right here too, and you might have harped on this, but here's how it goes. Given what COVID has done, obviously it seems you were pretty blessed. Maybe a little brushes with it here and there, but it looks like you and your family pull through stronger and better. But for those musicians who've been impacted by COVID or whatever else in their lives, what's their message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in a post-COVID world?
Yeah, when I have coworkers and some family members that have fallen pretty ill, not just from COVID, but from other illnesses, I always try to say, try to find your peace with God. Try to laugh. Find things that make you happy. Don't get so downtrodden to where you're bringing other people down. Be strong. Everyone has that inner strength. You just have to find it. You have to find your connection with other people. I lean on God a lot. I understand some people can't reach that point from whatever happened through their lives or what didn't happen in their lives, that they don't have that experience. But just try to reach out. Try to say something to whatever higher power you might believe in or not believe in. Just try it, and I guarantee you'll get an answer. Yeah, that's what I try to tell people that I know personally.
Spoken like a true prodigy. There. That's all good. So thank you so much there, Alfred. So
No problem. Thank you.
Alfred, we've reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked a little over about an hour and 30 minutes, but I guess you got any final words, any shouts you want to give to your folks out there and people and fans?
Check out the music if you like metal. Check out Messianic. I'm on Bandcamp right now. You can stream it, the whole album, a few times before they ask you for money. But go out there and check it out. Let me know what you think. I appreciate any feedback, positive or negative. And check out Brian, make his podcast popular.
That would be nice. I did forget to ask, where'd you get the name 39 Stripes for the album?
Yeah, so it's the title song, and it's about, so I don't know if you're familiar with whenever Jesus was crucified, they actually had a leather whip that was full of metal nails, whatever they could find to rip your flesh off. So that's what they did. They whipped them in the back 39 times. And the Bible says it was a prophecy in the Old Testament that it was a fulfillment of a prophecy in the Old Testament. He said he would take 40 minus one stripes for your iniquities. So that's what that song's about. Pretty much goes through what he went through, how many blows he took, getting spit on, all that. But he did that all for you.
There's an obsession with the number 40 too. Whenever you think about it, so you get to.
I've heard
It's like
that.
41. You're okay after 41. That's all that matters. So I don't
This
know.
is
It seems like
didn't even. Yeah.
as I was gonna say after the age of 40, it seems like okay, I'm good. That's all that matters now. So
Right.
there, that's all good too. Good choice nonetheless. There too that I made. So and just for the audience, can you just list what streaming and social media you're on so they can check your music out and see where you're at?
Yeah, I got a Facebook page, Messianic Metal. Instagram's the same thing, Messianic Metal. Got Bandcamp, Messianic. On Bandcamp, it's easy to find. It's a big red album with Jesus on the side, uh, his face with the crown on, the crown of thorns. Uh, yeah, you should see me on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere, distro, whatever streaming service you want. Be out June 18th.
We're spreading the world or spreading
There.
our album out to the world. Spreading the word. There we go.
Right.
So, okay. So everyone, my guest today was Alfred Garza, hailing from the deep south of Austin, Texas, right there. He's part of his own little group, Messianic. So make sure you go check him out on Bandcamp. You can hit him on the socials and everything here too. Check out whatever streaming platforms he is on here too. So June 18th. Mark your calendars there, people. So, okay. So Alfred, I wish you all the best going forward there, mate. You stay safe and God bless. Rock on.
You too, Brian. Appreciate you, man. God bless.